Something to always remember is that nothing healthy grows in one direction. And I think we already understand this as it pertains to friendships, relationships that are romantic, non romantic. In those relationships, we tend to set boundaries around respect, consistency, and mutual effort. Meaning, if we find ourselves in a imbalance in those relationships where there isn't an exchange, a fair exchange of energy, we will remove ourselves. But I believe that it's important to understand that any space that you exist in, be it in person or even digitally, because I think a lot of us are building, a digital presence. And it's important to uphold the same boundaries and consistencies and expectations digitally as it is in person. Because again, your energy is a your energy is your time, your energy is your attention, your emotions, your effort. These are all things that go into creating, whether you're making a quick post or whatever, it's your creation, right? And I think that as a content creator, sometimes you're so used to giving content, giving information, inspiring, and doing it from a place of, growing your platform, but also sometimes you're just doing it for the sake of sharing a message or something that you feel needs to be shared. And sometimes there's not an even reciprocation. And anytime that you're talking about an imbalance in when it comes to energy, be it your energy in person or digitally, energy needs to circulate. So the dichotomy is usually the giver and the receiver, right? When there's an imbalance, the giver is usually giving, and the receiver is just accepting. That will show up as people watching your content, viewing your content, engaging with your content, by taking the information, extracting the information, but not offering any exchange. So maybe they don't like, they don't share, they don't engage. And to that person, to the receiver, they may think, I'm winning. I'm winning. But energy needs to be circulated. So, anytime that there is an extraction without an exchange, you're creating stagnation. You're creating stagnation. And stagnation can show up in so many different ways. It can show up in a lack of abundance, it can show up in misfortune, it can show up in just feeling tired, it can show up in so many different ways. And you would never think that a part of that or a reason for that is because you're just taking in information from people's hard work, energy, attention, and effort without giving a fair exchange. That creates stagnation for you. Now, for the giver, give from a place of fair exchange. So it means never giving too much, and letting your content match the energy that you are able to attain from the receiver, right? So you never give too much, and you let and why that's important is because that's how you build healthy relationships. That's how you build healthy relationships. I'm not going to give you my best of best if I'm not receiving, in exchange for that. And moving forward, I think that's something that we really need to start to honor and respect, because I see so many people create stagnation simply because they're not circulating energy correctly. And they don't understand that when you receive information or you receive any type of inspiration or something from someone who has put in the effort, you must give an exchange for that. If you don't, you create a stagnation for yourself. Energy must circulate. It cannot just be about extracting, it has to be about exchange. Talk to y'all later.